Welcome back. Have you ever made an amazing meal and felt really guilty looking at all the waste that you created in the process?
Wilson, our next guest is here to walk us through some mouth-watering recipes that incorporate some of the things that we typically throw away. So, joining us now to show us the appeal of peels is better food advocate Punita Chitwell Varma. Hello, welcome back.
Oh, thank you for having me again. This is so much fun.
Panita, we're excited to go through these incredible dishes, and you are always so creative, but this segment takes things to a whole other level. Tell us how you got started and interested in making dishes infused with peels.
So, food waste is an enormous problem, right? 58% of the food that we raise and we grow in Canada is thrown away. It's an enormous problem, not just of the food that we throw, but also the resources and the time and the farmland and the farmers that um, and the work that goes into growing our food. And so, if we can reduce food waste, reduce what we throw away by using what we have and cooking creatively, right? We can totally do this.
That's amazing because now we're learning how to be conscious about the environment, but also we get to eat. So let's get started with the orange peel chutney. Tell us about this one.
So this first one is, as you said, an orange peel chutney, where the star of this chutney is orange peels. Orange peel is often, of course, something that we throw away. I've got a whole sample here of the navel oranges as well as the clementines that peel. And you can totally use either of these types of oranges in this chutney that is simmered with spices and tomatoes and dates. And it's totally delicious.
So it's a dip here, right? Like you've made it as you can use it as a dip with crackers, which is what we're doing now.
Yes, and you can serve this with cheese. It has a spicy, very mellow, but
Hmm.
also very aromatic flavor. It's a party in the mouth. Peel party.
Let me tell you something. I don't typically like orange peel. Chinese people put it in soup, and my mom's like, it's good for you, it's good for you. And I never like orange peel in my soup, and I never like orange and chocolate together. I think it's disgusting, but this is good.
It's really, really good.
So
Mm.
oranges in Asia and in the Mediterranean, it's a very commonly used part of the fruit. And
Hmm.
slice it up and cook it for maybe about 10-15 minutes, and you can use it in a bunch of different ways. And it imbues this really deep orangey flavor in things that have meat, lamb, grain, rice dish, and totally delicious.
So, Punita, it sounds like Cynthia and I both want to make this on our own. So, walk us through the steps.
So this is orange peels, a cup of orange peels, a cup of dates, and 2 tomatoes chopped up, really rustic. It doesn't need to be pretty because it will simmer together with whole spices. I've added in here peppercorns and cumin seeds, and it's simmered on the stove for maybe a good 2 hours. And it sounds like a lot, but this is one of those dishes that you can put on the stove and then walk away, come back and check if it's not over caramelizing, because that often happens with things with a lot of sugar that dates will have, and then and it's totally delicious.
So this next dish, I don't feel like maybe many people will have heard of. It is a watermelon rind curry. Walk us through this one.
So watermelon rinds are exceptionally tasty. So I started doing this last year because I was trying to grow watermelon in my backyard. Right? I was aiming big, live in Canada. My growing season is 2 months tops. And of course they didn't grow all the way that they should have. So what I ended up with was a small watermelon with a lot of rind and not enough fruit in it. And so I Googled it, and then I asked my mom, because of course my mom has all the answers. And so in South India, in many communities in the southern part of India, watermelon rind is something that people cook with normally. It's full of fiber and potassium, and it's delicious. And yes, it is delicious. And if you're cooking, an organic watermelon, it is tasty enough to eat raw. It
What does it
was.
taste like? Like, just sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt. I was just I realized like what are the notes in a watermelon rind?
Zucchini. It tastes like zucchini.
Does it?
So sweeter than zucchini, but without the seeds. And it's actually really
Mhm.
delicious. What I did
Yeah.
last year, sliced this up in salad and it was yum. Now this is from a grocery store, you know, one of those quarter watermelons that I bought. And so this has come from a really far distance away. So I would totally peel the green part
Yep.
of the watermelon, and then what you're left with is this. So we've eaten the juicy pink yumminess for snack today, and then we will make this in watermelon rind curry for dinner tonight. And then what I throw away is literally a handful of these green peels.
Okay, so we're gonna try this out here. Tell us what
Yes.
ingredients go into this to make it into the curry that it is.
So this is literally 5 ingredients, and it is mustard seeds, ginger, turmeric. I used
Wow.
fresh ginger. Oh, I love that. Wow. So this is, I've left it the consistency of soup, and that's why you can eat the curry as a soup. But if you can leave it with the coconut milk, cook it a little longer, leave it a little bit thicker, and then you can use it as a curry with rice or barley. Totally delicious. It takes about a 15-minute simmer in the coconut milk with the spices. But what really happens with the watermelon is that it absorbs, it soaks up all of the flavor of the ginger and the turmeric, and it becomes this very mellow, aromatic curry that you can eat in a bunch of different ways.
We have one more recipe. So excited about this. And this is a stir fry that uses both watermelon rinds and orange peel. So tell us about it.
So this is kind of the showstopper, where I've combined the orange peel, the watermelon rind, and also pomegranate skin. So I've got all 3 in here cooked together in a stir fry where I've halved the meat, because a lot of the work I do is around sharing practical, delicious solutions to personal health, mental health, and also planetary health. And so half the meat in any recipe, replace it with beans, add in some peels. So I've got orange and I've got watermelon rind in here, cooked together with a few spices like ginger and cumin. What you end up with is food that is nutritious, delicious, and also so good for the planet.
Oh, so
Oh my
good for lady.
goodness. Mm-hmm.
I'm
Wow.
loving sounds.
Hey, Punita, you mentioned that you half the beef and replace with beans, but if there are other modifications that people want to make, which ones, what would you recommend?
So you could also replace half the meat with mushrooms with some other vegetable. So in here, I've added some beans as well. So what I find is that previously I would cook with a pound of meat and without thinking add in, follow the recipe. But now that I half the meat, that same pound of meat is extended to 2 dishes. So I've got half the meat in here and I've saved 200 grams, half the pound of ground in the fridge for dinner tomorrow. And in this, I've added beans that have tons of fiber. I know we love fiber. And then it's got tons of polyphenols from all of the skin and delicious, delicious nutrition and flavor. And there's a little bit of a texture that mushrooms and beans add, and even lentils. You could totally swap out beans for lentils.
Oh, I'm going back and forth between the stir fry and the chutney. My goodness.
Peanuts would go really well with the curry and with the stir fry. They add a little bit of texture and a squeeze of lime. Another recommendation that I have is add more lime juice, because it adds sourness, that hint of acidity that is so great for our palate, and it's also vitamin C and delicious.
You're just blowing. This is like honestly one of my favorite food segments. I've never
Seriously.
tasted quite these flavor combinations. So just kind of blowing my mind. Honestly, Pranita, you never disappoint. Thank you so much for introducing us to these incredible dishes.
I'm so glad to be here. I'm so glad you enjoyed the food.
And everyone watching, you definitely want to try these out. So go to our social media pages for more information. And don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.